Hello, Vudani here, and today I have a follow-up video for my Guardian build. It's a gameplay, as you can tell. This match is a pretty good example of what the typical game with this build will be like, and it shows kind of the strengths and weaknesses for this. One thing you'll notice is a trend for this video is getting kited around. Not necessarily like getting kited that I can't pursue, but more getting kited in it's just a better option to switch targets. This match had a couple rangers on the opposing team, and they obviously are going to try to keep their distance, so it's a bit of an annoyance. I couldn't land as many kills as I normally would, but all in all it kind of shows a good display of this build. You'll see I generally will start out with the focus offhand, and I'll pop that Shield of Wrath. Looks like I go right for the spirit weapons and just go in on these people. Get the commands for both spirit weapons to get some AoE damage and the knockdown on that guy. And there's not much you can do when you actually get in the direct fire of both spirit weapons. He runs away and I just stay in the middle. I'm taking a lot of hits here, but it's not too much. Pop my heal as I'm going down here. I try to get my ultimate off, but I was either blind or dazed. Couldn't get that off and they take me down. Not really a surprise to go down there. It looked like a 5 on a couple. I don't know how many of my teammates survived there, but I believe one of them was killed by our chieftain and another one was down by the chieftain. The team composition right here isn't all that great. Right now we have 2 warriors and 3 guardians. One trend I've kind of noticed is lots and lots of warriors and guardians. I don't know what the plans are to balance that. It could just be people favor the melee classes for these short range SPVP matches. Difference between tournament and just hot join like this match here. Obviously the 3 people, and that makes a difference. With 8 people it's a lot easier to just run in and cleave, and here's a ranger. I try to pop that sword on him, but either gets changed teams or something, not really sure. Gonna pop the flashing blade to close the distance on this guy, but he ends up popping swiftness and I let him go away, and my sword of justice doesn't really agree with my decision. It's gonna continue chasing him. It's also a thing with the spirit weapons, you can't directly control them, but it should come back. There's a sword and hammer. This great sword ranger uses his charge. I counter with my charge. He continues rolling. I switch to this longbow ranger. I don't want him to turret people. Just start in with my sword of wrath, chaining those attacks, get as much damage as possible. I see a longbow ranger at long range. Pop my shield right there, try to deflect some damage, possibly block the line of sight for my allies, and I just ride him with my sword attack, and he's going to go down here with the help of my allies. We have a pretty good force moving up here. Try to close the distance with flashing blade there. Didn't quite make it, but we're able to take this down pretty handily. Gonna move to the keep right now. We're kind of in danger. The opposing team is starting to take more points. We need to get this here. Right there, the frequency of flashing blade is very nice. It's a very short cooldown, 10 seconds. You can almost always use it. Gonna cap this point. We have quite the train here. Can pretty much take any point if we wanted to. Some people are gonna stay. I'm gonna try and roam and possibly find some roamers, trying to switch points, catch them off guard. Gonna move towards the mine. That's the only point we do not have. Looks like someone's back capping the keep right now. I don't think anyone's gonna notice that. Not really good team play, but I'm gonna continue moving on for this mine. Have my focus up, as I've said. That's generally what I'll keep up at the start. It has the offensive attacks, whereas the shield offers defensive attacks. Easily able to neutralize this, but looks like the opposing team was able to capture the keep, and right now our forces are pretty spread out. Not really sure what they're doing. I see quite a few people here. Gonna pop that Shield of Wrath and Sword of Justice. Going on this guy, he gets knocked back there. It's an engineer, that must have been his rocket boots. He pops his Elixir B, and I go in with my Zealot's Defense, try to block some damage with also some damage of my own. He's trying to kite me there. He pops his Throwdown Elixir, which doesn't really help him there. I'm not using projectiles. And continue with the Sword of Wraths. He's not doing too much damage. With this build, I'm very strong against condition builds, which dual pistol engineer will obviously be conditions. If you watch my buffs while these fights go on, you'll notice that most of my conditions do get cleansed very early, and that happens automatically. With this build, you don't actually cleanse conditions reactively, it's just a passive thing. See this large group battle, I immediately pop the ultimate there, try to get some healing in. I probably would have died pretty quickly, so I'm gonna just throw down as much support as I can, try to turn this group battle. Looks like my forces are mobilizing around the area. I do end up going down, but we have quite a few here. I pop my knockback, try to stay alive a little bit, probably not gonna make it, but looks like my team had a pretty good flank there and will easily be able to take that point, I'm sure. Gonna respawn here. We have the henge here, so I'm gonna try to move on. Want to make sure we get that keep, which we do, and here we see two people come in for the henge. Gonna pop my Sword of Justice, go in with the Flashing Blade, and start auto attacks. It's a 2v1 situation here. You see I try to really focus this ranger down. That thief gets me with the Basilisk's Venom and lots of burst damage, but I was lucky enough to deflect most of the Heartseeker damage. Get some help coming in, as well as enemies, and continue on these two and do quite a bit of damage. He downs me right as the thief goes invisible, but my sword right there, I commanded my sword and it did a large AoE, which seems to have finished both of them. And that 2v1 eventually turned into a 3v3, and you could really see the fortitude this build offers. Most Guardians in general, Guardian builds will be defensive in one way or another, and they definitely specialize in 1v1s and 2v2 or 2v1s. Obviously right there it wasn't a true 2v1, but it was certainly pretty close. Took a lot of damage from the thief, but was able to deflect a lot of it, and there you see the score. Overall, that wasn't too bad of a game. It kinda showcased the weakness of this build with being kited. Had a lot of people with swiftness or speed buffs, but for the most part I was able to manage them, not necessarily kill them right away, but certainly able to continue with damage and deflect what they were putting on my allies. As always, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you'll be back for more. Thanks for watching.